Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Vern Glenn of CBS affiliate KPIX TV in San Francisco, and Russell Jackman. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And today, again, we got to keep talking football for a while. But this is football, the NFC.
Okay? NFC, okay.
The NFC. The only good conference.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So when we get back from our break, these are the various topics that I have, and then we'll talk about what you guys want to talk about too. The 49ers losing way too many players and the MetLife turf. The Falcons choking again kind of reminds you a little bit about Super Bowl against the Patriots. I have a question about why the Giants-A's game was blacked out of ESPN. Okay. I don't know if you noticed that over the weekend.
Wasn't sold out.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, hello. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of that. But then again, at our place of business, we don't have any blackout issues. We just we record the games and then cut highlights from it. But in the Bay Area, the game was blacked out.
Yeah, and it somehow turned to like another station or something. It was like this game is blacked out for FCC reasons or whatever the situation. Well. Something doesn't
who had the game? Was it Fox or was it who had
Sports Channel?
ESPN.
Oh, ESPN had the game. Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat.
Now, when ESPN has the game, usually like NBC Sports Bay Area, they don't have the rights to show it because NBC has exclusivity. So that's why you wouldn't get that's why you would get some other programming.
I don't know. Okay. Then Michael Jordan entering the NASCAR, right? NASCAR.
He's got the money to bankroll it.
He sure does. All right. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 7.5%.
7.5%?
7.5% in today's market, yes. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, along with Vern Glenn and.
Oh, you got more than one more time here.
Four more times. One more time until the next time.
Times 4, yes.
Yes, that's right. Well, I got to mix it up a little bit, right? I've got the last time for today. Here we are, et cetera, et cetera. So first of all, right on the list here, 49ers. What did they lose? Like 4 plays?
Met Death Stadium.
Is that what they're calling it?
That's what they're calling it now. Met Death Stadium.
Met Death Stadium. So, I mean, the AstroTurf's been around for a while. Is this a
it's new turf that's been constantly tested, and supposedly it meets the NFL standards. And it's my understanding that it was tested the Thursday before the game, and the Jets have been using that as a regular practice / walkthrough facility. So either that instance, it was just one of those days where a dark cloud came over MetLife, and then everything that could happen did happen to the 49ers. And by the way, the Jets lost a couple of players too. Or there's just something going on. And then the PS to that is the 49ers went to West Virginia to train instead of coming back to California, and they're playing the Giants on Sunday on that same turf. Now, here's my thing. Let's just say the Giants, who are a porous team, let's say the 49ers go in and just boat race these guys. Let's say it's 35-7. How often are we going to talk about the bad turf then?
Only if they get hurt.
Well, even if the Niners win 35-7, if Mullins gets hurt, and if McKinnon gets hurt, and if, I'm trying to even think of what 49ers are left. Kittle gets hurt.
My takeaway from that, Mr. Jackson, is the word if.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing of your hypothetical. If it's 37 to nothing, it doesn't matter what the final score is. If the Niners lose another 5 or 6 key players,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then there is something really wrong with that field.
Because remember, if the Giants are that bad, then the score is irrelevant from that end of it. I think you're right. It's going to be depending. Are they going to lose more players?
Here's the situation with the 49ers. The high ankle sprain for Garoppolo is deemed to be not as serious as had earlier been speculated.
Oh,
so He is going to go through treatment this week, and it will be constantly tested. If he feels like he can go and can get back there, make plays, and protect himself, then he will be the guy under center or in shotgun formation on Sunday. If he can't go, then it'll be Nick Mullins.
I think that's too much of a risk. I think you play Nick Mullins on Sunday regardless because
the Giants aren't that good. He should be able to handle
they aren't that good, and you can't risk Garoppolo, who's already got a knee injury, from a couple of years ago. You can't let maybe have a season or career-ending injury in that stadium.
And Saquon Barkley is out, so you just took away one of their major players there.
I have an idea. Why don't we tweet John Lynch, the general manager, right now, and tell him, hey, listen, Sports Econ 101 says you need to sit your Garoppolo down or else.
Yeah, or wait a minute. They always have to back that threat up with what's the or else?
Or else we'll
next week talk about what a crappy move that was.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. There you go.
Oh no, not that.
No. Hey, it's all about making Sports Econ 101 happy.
Let's put it this way.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Garoppolo starts and gets hurt in that stadium. We won't be the only people saying what a bad move that is. That'll be all the talk. I just think it's too early in the season. If this was like a game that we needed to make the playoffs and it were, the season was in the balance, I'd start Garoppolo. But with the way, look, without Saquon Barkley, the Giants are really just a super sub-mediocre team. They're not good with him, but without Saquon, they got no weapons. So, I have a feeling that the 49ers can get this job done. I think Kittle as quarterback could probably get the job done.
So a question for you guys. What was bad about the old AstroTurf? Was it just like turf toe, or it didn't last long enough?
Have you ever messed around with AstroTurf, the old style AstroTurf?
Not on that kind of stuff. I've been on, I don't know what kinds of different ones there are. I mean, I've got fake grass at home, so I know what that's like.
No, but if you're talking this fake, the AstroTurf in the 70s and early 80s.
Well, you don't have to go back that far. Let's put it this way. What did they change? Did they just this year suddenly change the AstroTurf?
I think AstroTurf has a shelf life and has to be replaced after a certain amount of time. This particular turf does have some earth underneath it, so there is some give. It's not like the
it's little plastic pellets. They have little plastic chopped up little squares.
So there is some give, but injuries have just been the name of the game all across the league. Look at the Denver Broncos. They lost Drew Lock, their quarterback, is suffered a shoulder injury. He's gone. Their top receiver, Cortland Sutton, he is gone. ACL injury. So it's happening. It's happening everywhere.
Part of it is no preseason. I think with these guys having to play extended minutes when they had absolutely no warm up before getting into the on the field is part of the problem there. I was surprised more of this didn't happen in week 1, but it is manifesting itself in week 2, and I have a feeling the next 2 weeks we're probably going to see a huge number of
these guys going all out. But you're right, without having enough of gentle hitting before. Yeah, really is making a difference.
It almost seems like every pro team should associate itself with a college team so that they can pull in the college folks immediately, like when their guys get hurt. So they have like the 49ers would have Stanford team as a backup that they can keep bringing in when guys get hurt.
Well, that's a neat idea, but then what happens when you get into certain states, certain cities where they don't have as strong, a college team to draw from?
Look, you get to a point where any warm body is a good deal. I mean, if you can just bring someone in that even knows the difference between a football and a baseball.
Well, the problem though is that they haven't had enough practice with the team. They don't know the play.
Nobody has now. Nobody's got that kind of practice. I mean,
but they don't know the playbook though.
When the practices were going on, it was all the starters. The backup guys got almost no minutes whatsoever. They didn't have time.
No, but they knew the calls, they knew the plays. They had the playbook.
At least knew the system and knew the scheme.
Yeah, they knew who was running.
Well, I think we're going to get to a point where just any warm body is going to be an important part of the NFL.
Well, that's an interesting point because with all these stars getting hurt, this year actually there are a lot of really good quarterbacks, and I remember there were a few years where it was like, the quarterbacks like there only was like one superstar or whatever, and it just was not exciting. I mean, now you've got enough quarterbacks who are exciting enough to watch, but then you start getting all these players to come down. It's going to be kind of okay. Well, I'll root for my team, but it doesn't have the same oomph to it. Okay, you guys ready for the first trivia question?
Okay, go ahead.
Based on football, the NFC. All right. Which NFC team was the first to win the Super Bowl after the 1970 merger?
Which NFC team?
Which NFC team was the first to win the Super Bowl after the 1970 merger? That's our trivia question. So you gotta go back in time, right?
Okay. I have an idea.
I think
the best part is we have a 1 in 14 chance of being right, regardless.
Were there only 14 teams back then?
No. Yeah, there is.
Because half the
we can eliminate the AFC.
All the AFC. That is correct. There you go. See, you're a mathematician. And how many? Were there 28 teams back then?
That's a good question.
Name all 28 teams. Okay, the 49ers. Start going. No, I'm kidding. All right, stay with us. That's our trivia question. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We are going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Russell Jackman and Vern Glenn. Our first trivia question on football, the NFC, was which NFC team was the first to win the Super Bowl after the 1970 merger?
I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I was going to go with Dallas also.
Okay, and who did they beat?
The Miami Dolphins.
Who did they beat? I'm sorry?
I'm going Dolphins.
Dolphins, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking Vikings.
That was a big Dolphins fan. That was a killer when they beat them 24-3. In fact, wasn't it a couple of years ago? How many points did the Rams score? Didn't they also? The Patriots beat them? What was the score? A couple of years ago in the Super Bowl. Didn't they also get like only 3 points, or
6? I think.
6?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were soundly defeated. Yep.
Yeah, that was okay. All right. So moving on to that kind of bad news. The Falcons. I tell you, did that game kind of remind you of the Super Bowl when they just gave it away to the Patriots? I mean, I wish I was a fly on the wall in the locker room when the coach has to just kind of gently tell his players what the rules are for an onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it wasn't just the onside kick. Atlanta put themselves in neutral, just like they did with the Super Bowl. They had the huge lead, and then they just put everything in neutral and just let Dallas do whatever it wanted for the second half.
Yeah, but the receiver, who was the receiver who dropped the touchdown pass? It was just right in his hands. He just didn't extend them enough for the Falcons.
Is that Jones? No, Jones is better.
No, Julio Jones. It's not Julio Jones. It was the other guy.
Anyway, but that's it. As soon as that happened, everything started going downhill for them.
Hey, momentum shift, man. There's a lot to be said for it. You give that team a little momentum and playing in that. There've been a lot of nice comebacks in these first couple of weeks of the NFL. And
not to take away from Dallas because they still had to come up with the offense.
Exactly.
But it's another instance where the prevent defense, what it really prevents is for you winning.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never been a fan of that. I've never been a fan of stop attacking and just saying we have enough points and we'll just slot. And this is a big message to teams to not let up towards the end.
I get not running up the score, but no, you don't run up the score when there's like 2 minutes to go and you're up by 21 points. Then you don't run up the score.
First of all, if it's Dallas, run up the score.
Yeah.
You have my permission to run up the score 200 points.
Okay.
Fine.
Now, is it because you don't like Dallas, or
I don't like Dallas?
Okay. Or the other or was going to be, or are you concerned that they're so good that they can come back from any deficit?
No, I don't ever want anyone to ever mistake me for ever liking Dallas ever for even one split second.
Yeah,
I'm still upset.
And those out there in the Dallas, Texas market watching right now, they probably are armed with their eggs to throw at the screen.
Fine.
Yeah.
Send all your hate mail, all your Dallas hate mail to Russell Jackman.
That's
No
right.
problem.
Listen,
I will accept all of it.
I'm still upset that the 49ers lost the getting into the Super Bowl and the NFC team back in the, what was it, the
94 or
no,
93?
we're talking the 70s. The
Oh, that one. Oh, gosh,
the
yeah.
onside kick where the guy, I can't remember who blew it.
Another Dallas onside kick, by the way.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, there was a stretch where they just could not beat the Cowboys when it counted in the 1970s. That's for sure.
Then came the catch.
Yes.
That's right. And that really started it. Yeah.
But getting back to your point on Atlanta, I mean,
Yeah.
as a result, it puts them in a hole. I mean, they're 0-2. The Broncos are 0-2. The Texans are 0-2. The Vikings 0-2, and the Eagles are 0-2. I mean, they're in deep trouble. So since 2007, only 10 of 100 teams have started off 0-2 and made the playoffs. That is not good company.
No. What was the percentage, or what was the?
Only 10 of 100 teams that started the year 0-2 made the playoffs.
Wow.
So about
I wonder
a
what goes
10%
through their
chance.
head, like, okay, we're 0-2. And I mean, they don't write off the season that early, but I wonder if psychologically if there's something that just kind of says we're done.
No, because each week is a chapter, and yeah, you start off 0-2. I mean, you start a new chapter because there's a whole new scheme and a whole new playbook and game plan that you put in. Now, if you're if you have a killer schedule where it's just too tough for you, then that's just the way football goes.
And they've got 14 games to turn around. I mean, all of a sudden you win the next 2 games in a row and you're 2-2, and you've got hope. But the truth is, if you go 0-4 as a pro team, your season's over.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to turn
any?
that around.
Has anybody come back from 0-4?
Oh, yeah. The Chargers did, and I believe Miami did one year where they won like 9 in a row towards the end. So they you can do it. New Orleans did it, and Seattle did it too. So you can do it, but you stack everything so far against you. And the AFC, the NFC Central, where they're at, where Atlanta's at, is pretty competitive. So that's going to be tough. Or is it the South?
The Saints,
South, AFC,
they have a tough schedule coming up the next 4 or 5 games. But how about
does anybody have it any tougher than the Las Vegas Raiders? They got a brutal schedule, and after week 2, hey, they're 2-0 for only the second time in the last 25 years. They started off 2-0, scoring over 30 points per game, and give credit to Derek Carr, the incredible comeback that they had when you figure, hey, you're down 10 to the Saints with Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Forget it. It's over.
Yeah, but couldn't he have targeted?
But Derek Carr was clearly the better quarterback on the field on Monday night.
Sort of. Couldn't he have targeted Hughes a little bit more, don't you think?
Didn't need to.
Doesn't matter. He had Darren Waller.
It does matter because Hughes is on my damn fantasy team and he only got 4 damn yards. I lost by 9 points. I scored 151 points. I lost to a team that scored 160 points. 151 points is one of the highest scores I've ever done. If Hughes had bothered just a little bit to catch that 60-yard pass that Carr threw to him, I would have won that game. So
Russell, I want you to send a tweet to Gruden and remind him who's on your team.
Yes.
Remember, it's all about Russell Jackman's.
Get it done. Get it done for the Marin 101ers. That's all I care about.
I got to say, if you look, you just watch, let's say, the highlights, and you can see Derek Carr looked really good. I mean, he had pinpoint accuracy.
Well, the talk was that this has been like his greatest camp since Gruden has returned, and he was able to have command, and they didn't fold when they were down, and they just kept coming back. Defense made a play, gave the ball, turned the ball over, and the Raiders
Jacobs was a hell of a find.
Yeah, Jacobs was.
Jacobs has been a hell of a find.
Maybe just going to a new venue, kind of just.
Wonder what Oakland fan thinks about that.
I have an answer for that because I get texts and I get tweets all the time saying, "Hey, would you please stop talking about the Raiders? They've left already. They're like an ex-girlfriend or ex-wife. Get them out of there." And I have to go, well, okay, fine. Sorry you feel that way, but when I say KPIX, we still carry the games, and
Yeah.
we, and the Raiders are global, like it or not.
I wonder. I'm trying to think. I think a lot of us were more upset when they left to go to L.A.
Because it was L.A.
Well, but there was also, it was like they were Oakland for so many years, and then
But of all the cities to move to, it was L.A. was just the big slap in the face. To be a Bay Area team to move to Los Angeles. No Bay Area team had ever moved to L.A. It's just, don't pick Los Angeles. Pick Bakersfield, or pick Modesto.
Well, still Southern California.
Pick Los Angeles.
But what other Bay Area teams?
We're talking about Al Davis at the time, and you just don't tell Al Davis what to do.
No, but that's why people were so upset, because of all the cities to move to, LA has that Bay Area rivalry.
But not with the Raiders. That was with San Francisco. From people I talked to, because I was there, we were just upset that they just got out of Oakland. We lost our home team, our home AFC team. It wasn't so much where they went. Yeah, it didn't help. I mean, sure, if they went to Arizona or something at the time, it was like, okay, big deal. But I mean, that part wouldn't have been the issue. It would have been just that we lost our team, and the fact that we lost them to Vegas is probably not as bad, because Vegas didn't have a team,
and they don't have a rivalry with the Bay Area at all.
And they had the money to build a near $2 billion stadium to just give to Mark Davis.
Plus, a lot of people feel like, okay, we can go to vacation in Vegas. LA isn't always the most friendly city for people to always go down to visit, but Vegas is.
So how come Vegas didn't give Oakland the money to build a stadium?
They don't have casinos. You don't have the one-armed bandits.
Right.
Yeah, but they could have been generous. I mean, they could have been generous and just given the money to Oakland and let Oakland build it. That's my point. Okay,
Mr. Private Money, I don't think even you would consider doing this out of the goodness of your heart.
You are correct, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Here's our second trivia question about the football, the NFC. Which TV network carried NFC games until the mid-1990s?
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right.
Right. There's only so many TV networks to choose from, right? Email Edward at sportsecon101.com. The answer to this question: which TV network carried NFC games until the mid-1990s? All right. You are listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back with some more advice from Mr. Jackman.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
And his fantasy
My fantasy team needs help.
That's right.
One
All
and
right.
one.
Stay with us. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman all here on Zoom.
You make fun of my fantasy teams, but 3 years ago, I actually was 6 points away from a perfect season.
Wow.
I lost my first game by 6 points, and then I won the next 13 games in a row.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make fun of your specific.
It's important stuff, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing about. It's like the world's in chaos, but as long as Russell Jackson's fantasy team is doing okay,
right,
the world's in a great place.
I can go to sleep on Monday and go, okay. That's at least one thing I got going for me.
You know what? I can appreciate that. I really can. All right, here was our second trivia question. Which TV network carried NFC games until the mid-1990s?
The NFC on CBS.
CBS, that is correct. I figured I'd have to throw a CBS question in there for Uncle Vern.
Yep.
Okay, speaking of networks, so we talked about this on the first introduction segment. So I turned on ESPN to watch the A's-Giants game for a bit, and suddenly it says it's blacked out. And I'm thinking, ordinarily, or in the old days, they used to black it out if it was, hey, we didn't sell enough tickets. Now, I guess it's changed a little bit with, these games are covered by this network versus this one. But
right.
That had to be it, because I'm going, wait a minute, there's no fans, COVID and all that stuff. So it's not like they didn't sell enough tickets.
No, it's about rights. It's about territory. So there's certain parts of the country outside of the Bay Area that where you might want to get that A's game, but you can't So ESPN provides that for the rest of the country. But here in the Bay Area, then it would be NBC Sports Bay Area or NBC Sports California that would carry the A's or the Giants. And in this instance, they both played each other. In fact, I had that game on Sunday.
And my question would be to you is, why did you want to watch it? All three games were basically unwatchable. They were just either the A's beat the Giants, like with the Giants not scoring a run, or then it was like 11 to 2 against the A's on Sunday.
My short answer to that is my paycheck told me to do that.
No, but I was asking Edward, why did he even care?
Because I like both teams. I know that you don't like the A's.
Yeah, boo! I hate that. Those the people that wear the split A's Giants hats. Those drive me crazy. Pick a side.
Can you see this? This is this is the Giants and A's snow globe.
There you go.
Yeah. You see this in the corner there? You see that?
No.
The little orange thing?
Yeah.
Little tiny. Yeah.
I see like an orange dot in my screen.
Yeah, that little orange dot is a crazy crab.
Okay, beautiful. Beautiful.
That was probably the most hated mascot. Don't you think? I mean,
how many people really hate mascots? The only other one I can think of was when people really didn't like Thunder for the Warriors.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, he was.
But he had nothing to do with the Warriors. I mean, they even had to get
Thunder served his purpose until Oklahoma City got a franchise, and then there you go.
I know. See, and I still look at that and I go, okay, they changed their. I mean, they got the name the Thunder, but I mean, I thought he was entertaining at the Warrior games, and they had the emblem and all that, and okay, he was a Warrior Thunder.
Right.
It's like suddenly it's like,
I never got it. I never understood what his purpose was or why they affiliated a guy with a lightning bolt necessarily. I know the Warriors had that lightning bolt as their logo, but I never really liked that logo. I never really understood that logo either. So
yeah, I mean, Warrior lightning bolt is okay.
Warriors don't need a mascot. They got Curry. That's the only mascot they need.
Yeah, can you imagine
that's enough for you.
Yeah, but can you imagine having a player as the mascot? Yeah. That'd be a little over the top, don't you think?
Yeah,
the Chicago Bulls.
Getting back to baseball. Getting back to baseball for a second, because we are on the verge of the playoffs, which start the following week. A lot was on the line in that game that I covered. I mean, all the A's had to do was win, and they would have clinched the division. Now, as we speak now, the Astros lost the night before, and so the AL West division belongs to the A's right now. And for the Giants, they needed to have this game to stay relative for their playoff drive, which is and who thought at the beginning of this that the Giants would still be alive for this one, even as we speak?
Not Vegas. Vegas said that the Giants were only going to win 25 games all season.
Let's see. Well, there you go.
How many have they won so far?
27 now, I think.
And how many games left to go?
They've got they've got the rest of this week to go, and as we record this show, they're a half game out of the 8th seed in the National League. And if the season ended today, the A's, being the Western Division champions, they would be the 3rd seed, and they would host the wild card round. And when they get past that, their next series of games would be at Dodger Stadium.
And the Giants play Colorado and San Diego, so their fate is basically in their own hands now. So it's if they win against San Diego, they're in. If they lose to San Diego, basically they're out.
And if the Giants get in, they're going to draw the Dodgers in the first round, because one will play 8.
Yeah,
and isn't that ironic? That would be the first time the Giants have played the Dodgers ever in the postseason in any kind of recent memory. I mean, I don't think they've played against them in 30 or 40 years.
Yeah. Wow. That's
in the playoffs.
Moving on, I got one more thing to cover, and then we'll cover whatever you guys want. So Michael Jordan, NASCAR, Bubba Wallace driving. And it's interesting because he says I was kind of reading something. He said he wanted to open up more opportunities for Black people in racing. I mean, I know there have been mostly white people, in racing, mostly. But was there ever it wasn't like an unwritten rule or anything. It just was it not the attraction? You know what I mean? It's like he says he's opening up for. I mean, it's always been open, like for the last 50 years, so to speak.
Well, I mean, there have been attempts to bring color in the ownership realm of NASCAR. Tim Brown years ago, after he was done playing football, he tried to form a partnership where they would form a NASCAR team, but there's so many financial hurdles to climb in order to be a legitimate NASCAR owner.
Expensive.
And obviously Michael Jordan has the means to start a team. So he and Denny Hamlin are going to collaborate. They're going to form a team, and they're going to bring in Bubba Wallace as their primary driver. And hey, good luck to them. Because if you have
primarily, the NASCAR is more of a southern thing, and doesn't lend itself to urban environments as much, and so you don't see big cities, especially up north, that have higher black populations that really follow NASCAR very much. And it's not. I mean,
we do have close by here we have the old Sears Point Raceway, and that brings a lot of fans. But
but it's not a very raceway diverse audience.
In fact, NASCAR weekend is their big Super Bowl type weekend. That is the biggest event that Sonoma Raceway holds, and they were unable to do it this year because of COVID.
Wow. What else you guys want to cover? Got about 4 minutes.
Let's see. Well, when you talk about the football situation right now, and so far I think it's been very fortunate that you've had that many fans in one place. It's the only sport that's got fans in attendance, and no one has come down with COVID yet. I
mean, why don't they do that with baseball the same way?
Because baseball is too scared. I think baseball started earlier, and they were the first sport to really get back on its feet and start doing stuff. And I think they looked at Korea, looked at how Korea did their stuff, and they didn't have any fans in the audience.
So football did what? Just said, hey, there's too much money in this to have.
Well, I mean, we're talking about a $10 billion a year moneymaker. So I don't think there was any doubt in the NFL, just other than, hey, we're doing this.
Yeah,
we're doing it this way.
But they didn't want to bring fans in and make the risk even higher. And football was like, well, now that we've seen that baseball and NBA haven't come down with COVID, we're going to open it up to fans and basically roll the dice. I still think there's a lot of dice being rolled.
Yeah, there were 21,000 people in attendance for that Cowboys game at the AT&T.
And they're still, minimum 6 feet apart.
Yeah, but I don't know how you deal with the bathrooms. I don't know how you deal with concession lines. I don't know how you deal.
I'm sure it's severely restricted.
Well, also concession lines, 21,000 compared to 75,000. You're not going to have as many lines.
Yeah, for all I know, there might not have been any concessions as an option for that game.
So would they let you bring food in?
Or no food at all.
For 3 hours?
Oh, I can't imagine people sitting through a whole football game without a beer or a bag of peanuts or.
Well, it's like, hey, do you want football or not? If you want football, this is how it has to be. If you don't want it, then fine.
Okay, so what about you when you go to these games? I mean, you're going in the stadium, aren't you?
Yes. Okay. Going in the stadium, they take your temperature. You go through all the protocols, and then we sit in one particular area. And you're not allowed. You're only allowed to go, but so far, outside of your area. And they provide like a little box lunch.
Okay.
And it's all different. At the 49ers, they serve you for about an hour and a half, and they have popcorn, they have ice cream, they have cold cut sandwiches until they're out. When they're out, they're out. It's done. At the Giants, they have one concession place for media that's open for about an hour and a half after first pitch, and then it's shut down. Then it's done.
So you grab all you can.
Yeah, for the A's, it's a box lunch on a table, and once it's gone, it's gone. Other than that, you just bring in your own peanuts and what. And
they do let you bring your own stuff in.
You're allowed to bring your own stuff.
For media, yeah, they do. Wow. So it's all different. For the NBA, well, we'll see. Good, because training camps just started. And speaking of the NBA, they were down to these conference championships, and they have been absolute thrillers. I mean, the game-winning shot for Anthony Davis for the Lakers.
That's a career definer. That's one
Yeah.
that will be going down in his personal resume as the shot that defines his career.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
know we're joking.
it reminds me of Jordan making that shot against Cleveland and then the big jump and the fist bump that he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those types of shots. Or when Robert Horry crushed my heart as a Kings fan at the time.
Big shot Bob.
Yeah, Big Shot Bob.
Yeah.
That was one of the. You know what I also thought about that is that Alan Gentry spent all that time building Davis from the outside, and he wanted Davis to learn how to make the outside shot. A lot of people gave Gentry a lot of criticism for not developing more of his inside game. Then he leaves. Davis leaves, makes that huge 3-point shot, you know, in the playoffs, and that was really Alan Gentry's 3-point shot.
He's shooting 40%, I think, from 3-point. Not bad.
Yeah, he's a real viable threat.
And for you, Mr. Jackman, Mr. Warriors fan, how about this? Andre Iguodala is 2 wins away from making another NBA final. How about that?
Still on,
good for him.
You know, he hasn't
Iggy.
contributed that much. He hasn't been as big a contributor for the Miami team as he was for the Warriors.
But when he's in there for the minutes he gets, he makes the most of it.
He's the best. Okay, here's our third and last trivia question. In what city did the Carolina Panthers play their inaugural season in 1996?
Okay.
In what city did the Carolina Panthers play their inaugural season in 1996? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown. This is the last time for today. Edward Brown here, along with Russell Jackman and Vernon Glenn. We got a stumper here for the boys. The NFC football. That is our trivia question theme. Here's the question. In what city did the Carolina Panthers play their inaugural season in 1996?
I'm gonna say Miami.
No, they would have.
No, but it was on the East Coast. Is that a good hint for you?
I don't think they played in North Carolina. I think they played in like South Carolina. That's what I think.
Yes. Come on.
So that's either
Charleston or
it's either University of South Carolina or Clemson. One of those two. Those are the only two big stadiums.
It is one of those two.
Clemson.
Clemson.
Very good.
Okay.
You led me to the
South
answer.
Carolina. Very good, guys. Okay, that's good. You know, I'm impressed. Because they.
I remember driving by the stadium as I was driving through North Carolina at the time when they were still building it.
Still building it.
Yes.
That's terrific. That's a fun stadium to watch a game.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. You ready for our thoughts for the day?
Oh, give it to me.
Okay. It's better to look back on life and say, I can't believe I did that, than to look back and say, I wish I had did that.
That's what the bucket list is about.
Very good.
That's what the bucket list is about.
There you go.
Yeah, very good. And the brain is the most outstanding organ. It works for 24 hours a day, 365 days, right from birth until you fall in love.
And I'll add to that. Nobody messes with my brain. That's my second favorite organ.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's from Woody Allen in Sleeper.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, we do try to keep it clean here on Sports Econ 101. Any last, you got 10 seconds. You want to say goodbye, boys?
I'll say
You can
goodbye.
say it very slowly.
Next week. Yeah.
All right. Okay, here we go. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and rooting for Russell Jackman's fantasy team and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Adios, America.